Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are back with another brand new Recur release, another mythical creature, as we've got ourselves the Devil Dragon, and this looks awesome. Again, it's another one of those situations where you basically have the brand new style of Recur just shining in all of its glory. This figure looks super cool here. Definitely, of course, very nicely sculpted, much higher quality than their older figures, and is without a doubt one of the most striking dragons that I have seen yet. So, as always, let's jump to a closer look and we'll check it out from there. So just like I stated in the Chimera review, I do want to let you guys know that you need to stick around to the end of the video because I do have a link and some information on how you can get a discount when it comes to purchasing this. So make sure you check out the end of the video as well. Again, stick around for the whole video so you can find out how you can get a discount for this. And on top of that, make sure you do that soon because that discount is only for a limited period of time, I believe. So make sure you get a hold of that discount right away. But you can see the figure is absolutely epic. Obviously, we've got 3 heads for our dragon, and each one of the heads sports kind of a different look. So first of all, we've got this head, which obviously looks really, really cool. You've got almost sort of a King Ghidorah kind of a look, I think, with this one. Has that sort of slight resemblance, but you can also see the horns kind of leading out of the back of the head, almost like a scoot-like appearance over the top of the head, and some really nice looking skin texture here on the side of the head. We can see the inside of the mouth is painted with a black, and then you have the teeth sculpted out and painted really quite nicely with a white. We have the eyes as well painted with a yellow, given a black pupil, and the head overall has a nice goldish tone with a dark wash applied so that it helps to kind of highlight that. As you lead down, you can see the underside of the neck sports kind of like a nice white tone, as well as some pinkish tones, kind of very nice and subtle pinkish tones that sort of run along the side of the neck of each of the different dragons. As you move over a little bit further and we lead up that center neck, you can see, first of all, it's a little bit bulkier than you see on the other neck there, the first neck that we had taken a look at. Definitely the larger of the 3 heads, and as you lead up, you can see this one has its mouth sculpted in an open position, whereas the first version had its mouth sculpted in a closed position. We can also see, again, the goldish tones with the nice dark wash. We've also got the eye, again, yellow with a black pupil. The teeth are all sculpted quite nicely on the inside of the mouth of this one, also painted quite nicely. We have a purplish tone in there, which does feature a nice gloss coat, and you also can see, if my camera would focus on it correctly, we have some nice texturing to the tongue, but it's really not wanting to focus on it. You can kind of see it there. It definitely looks really, really good. But obviously we've got more horns as we lead back up into the top of the head of this one, and that dark wash is definitely helping to make all of the detail in those horns pop. And then as we lead over here to the final head, you can see this one is a little bit smaller, maybe the smallest overall. This one looks like maybe the smallest, so this would be like the second smallest. But obviously you can see this one as well has its mouth sculpted in an open position, looking nice and ferocious. You can also see a large horn kind of leading up and over the top of the head, and again painted with that gold tone, again painted with that nice dark wash, and you can also see the eye also has that same yellowish tone with the black pupil. The inside of the mouth also has that purplish tone, and again the teeth all painted with a white, which all look pretty good, and again the tongue and everything in there. And we also have more of those pinkish tones down here on the underside and sides of the neck of the dragon. And then as you lead back, obviously you can see when you look at it from the top, the skin texture and everything in the almost like armored sort of area moving along looks really good. Has lots of kind of like spots where the dark wash can really crawl into and highlight the detail in a nice realistic way. As you lead down, you obviously see the coloration of the dragon change colors, so we now have a black, but we continue to have a very armored look for our dragon. You can also see that we pick up some really nice scale detail as you lead down. Very impressive scale detail. We've got some ridges here kind of like moving along the back of the elbow for the dragon. As you lead down, you've got a really nice foot sculpt here, kind of like some scoots down the toes. And you've got the nails again sculpted out and painted with a goldish tone, similar to what we have up there on the head. As we continue to move down the course of the thigh, you can see the gold treatment shows back up again in that area. You can see the skin texture again. You've got more ridges leading off of the back of the ankle, and then you lead down into the foot sculpt. The foot sculpt again looks pretty much the same as the front foot sculpt did. We also have dew claws there in the back, and then we lead up into the wings, and as you can see, the wings look really cool. Just like we saw in the Chimera, there are all sorts of rips and tears in the skin of the wings looks really, really neat. Definitely adds some nice realism to the figure, and you can see the skin texture as well looks fantastic moving through. We have black kind of moving through each of the different areas of the wing, highlighting that nicely. More gold up here, which looks again really cool. Definitely pops very nicely, and you have some nice red oranges down here that kind of transition out to some lighter tones, basically like some whites as you lead out there toward the tips, and then you have some black actually highlighting the tips in general for the wing. But again, that looks absolutely awesome when it comes to the sculpt and painting of the wings. And then as you lead out here into the tail, you can see the tail is basically just fully armored the entire way out. We do have a light gray dry brushing moving along the center of the spinal column of our dragon, and then we lead out here to the tail, which has a few more spikes out here on the end. Also has again that kind of pinkish or orangish tone out there. And then as you lead along the underside, you can see it basically looks the same as far as the way it looked up there in the neck the entire way through. And then once we turn it around, you can see again the wing and everything looks pretty similar to the way it looked on the first side over here as well, though obviously different tears and stuff, adding again more realism to the figure, which looks really cool. And you can see the insides on the upper side also look really, really nice as far as both the sculpting and painting. But that is an absolutely epic dragon. Definitely another really cool release from the new Recur. As far as a size goes for our dragon, if we go from the middle head, roughly in the spot of the middle head, all the way out there to the tail, you're looking at about 7 3/4 inches or just shy of 20 centimeters. And then for a height, the highest point is definitely the wing over here, about 5 1/4 inches or approaching 13.5 centimeters, but not quite there. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, Robert Muldoon, and the Collect A human being next to our Recur Devil Dragon, and you can see it again sports a very nice size, kind of similar in size, honestly, to the Chimera that I had just recently reviewed. So to kind of show you that, there is the Chimera next to the Devil Dragon, which again you can see very, very similar in size. So if you do happen to have the Chimera, or you were just kind of curious as to how these would size up next to each other, you can obviously see they're very similar overall. Now, when it comes to dragons, unfortunately, I don't really have too many. I haven't really been collecting dragons for all that long. I'm definitely starting to get into it, so I should have more as time goes on. But you can obviously see when it comes to a comparison next to some of the few dragons I do have, which we have the Papo Air Dragon here. Obviously, they're kind of similar in size with just a little bit more, I would say, mass on the Recur Dragon, but more when it comes to like the length of the wings on the Air Dragon from Papo. And we've also got a comparison with the Sea Dragon from Papo. Again, hopefully these figures next to it are maybe something you have and can help to give you an idea of the size. And then one final comparison, basically a desperation comparison, as we have, again, two figures that I often bring in for review comparisons. We've got the Deluxe Dimetrodon from Collect A and Schleich Diabloceratops, which obviously you can see the dragon from Recur is a little bit bigger than both of those figures. So this Recur Devil Dragon is yet another very cool mythical creature release from Recur, and again, another very cool figure from their brand new line and brand new style. Definitely a very impressive sculpt. Obviously, it's the same sort of material the new dinosaurs are made of, which I think is like PVC, which is definitely like that standard material you usually find most, dinosaur figures and dragon figures and stuff in. It's more of the classic material that you find rather than what Recur used to create their figures in, which was much more of a softer, kind of squishier material. So it's much more hard and solid now with these new figures. But you can see as you move through the course of the figure, overall, it is absolutely gorgeous when it comes to the sculpt. The fine detail is really well done, very impressive, very vibrant, and there are lots of areas of realism on the figure like you usually see on current Recur, which again, just looking through the wings, I love all the tears and just the haggard look of the wings of the dragon. It looks really, really nice. The coloration of the wings is also super cool, and I love the way that those colors, like those red oranges of the wings, play off of the darker tones of the body. But on top of that, you have some very nice gold colors on this, which are almost like sort of like an ode to King Ghidorah, in my opinion, because it has that same similar sort of gold tone and also kind of a similar look to the way that the head sculpts are created, which obviously King Ghidorah is inspired by dragons, so it's kind of just like, coming full circle. But overall, again, it just looks super nice when it comes to the sculpt, very nice when it comes to the paint. Everything on this figure is very well done, and definitely a figure that I highly recommend picking up, especially if you are a mythical creature figure collector. You really want to get this one into your collection. So, just like with the Chimera, I have a link that you can click in the description, and if you do click that link, it will take you straight to Amazon.com, where you can purchase these with a discount, a 5% discount, so you can just knock a little bit of money off of these and just get them again for a little bit cheaper. So make sure you check that link. Definitely pick up this figure as well as the Chimera, and like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.